Okay, so it's very important that you note that the local purchase order is not a negotiable instrument. It's not like me giving you a check to go and cash money at the bank, and when it bounces, you are able to sue me to court that I gave you a dot check or a fake check, which is actually a criminal thing to do. So legally, you can fight me if I do that. But now, if I give you a local purchase order, the local purchase order is not a contract. I need you to understand, okay, it's not a negotiable instrument. So it's not something you can take to the bank and withdraw money with. So where am I going with this? The local purchase order is not bankable on its own. Like, I am an investor. You want me to invest 50 million naira in your commodity business. You want to supply a company commodities worth 50 million naira. Then you ask me to invest. I ask you, okay, what do you have as, like, what's bankable? What are we looking at? Do you have a collateral or something? What are you putting down? So you brought the local purchase order that the buyer or the company buying from you that they gave you. You showed that as the evidence, of the trade that you want to make happen. Now, that local purchase order is not a negotiable instrument that you can take to the bank and cash out the money. So it's not bankable. So most of the time, companies, factories, they know that the LPO is actually not bankable, but it can serve as a contract, alongside your supply contracts and all that. It can serve as it can create an environment for you in which you can sue the company, or maybe after you've supplied them, if they've refused to pay you, or anything comes up after that and you felt cheated, you can drag the company with the documents that they've given you before the contract happens. So that's how the LPO works, the local purchase order works. So the local purchase order, it states like the name of the company that wants to buy from you, their address, it states the name of the commodity they want to purchase, the price that they are buying it from, the number of tons that they are buying. Then you see you have a total of the amount of money that will be paid when you supply that commodity, and it's also going to be stated as when they will make that payment. If it's 24 hours after delivery, if it's 48 or 72 hours or 3 working days, it's going to be stated clearly on the purchase order. So once the purchase order is sent to you, you can now reply with your acceptance and let them know when you will be making a delivery or when you are going to supply. So they'll be expecting you on that day. Then both of you can communicate and, concerning when you are bringing the commodity. Then there's also something called RFQ. RFQ is request for quote. So you have different companies, factories, importers that will just put out something that they need and say, send your quote, So they are requesting for quotes, they are putting it out there that they need so commodity, so material, and they need someone to supply them. So you need to understand how that works also. You just send your quotes and they try to look through it. Maybe they are buying or not. Then there's SEO. SEO stands for soft corporate offers. Now for the SEO is used mostly by exporters, but you can use it for your commodities locally also. So the SEO is like a template for what you are offering companies or what you are offering factories or importers around the world or internally, locally, like just in your state, in Lagos State, for instance. So you can sit down, type, create an SEO for maybe palm oil and send it out to different companies, like 50 different companies, 10 different companies, 100 different companies, telling them about the chemical content of your palm oil, the things that make it better, what guarantees that this palm oil is actually healthy, and the price that you are selling it at, and the quantity, the minimum quantity or the maximum quantity that you can supply in a month, in a week, in a year, and the minimum order that they can make from you. That is the MOQ, the minimum order. So you put all this in your soft corporate offers with your contact. It should be like on your company letterhead. So should in case they have to call you up, sometimes they will just reply your email and let you know the quantity of the palm oil that they need. So already when you send an SEO and a company is responding to your SEO, there won't be need for negotiation, because in the SEO you sent, the price is already there. So if you send that to an importer, you'll be quoting dollars and like some Incoterms. But if you are doing the local supply, you don't need, you just need to let them know that this is so is sold in Naira per ton. So now there's also BG. BG stands for bank guarantee. Earlier on, when I was talking about the LPO, the local purchase order, I tried to explain that the local purchase order is not bankable, is not something that maybe you can present to the bank. But in the case of BG, bank guarantee, you can actually do that. Bank guarantee means that the buyer or the company or the factory buying from you has the money and they can guarantee payment. So it's just like the company is presenting you a letter of standing or maybe a block fund that the money is actually, once you make this supply, you are going to get your money. So you have a guarantee from the bank. Now, this is better because this is more valuable for investors, even for financial companies or for banks to actually raise money for you when you are trying to finance your contract. So you try to push for things like bank guarantee, letter of good standing with the bank, or blocked fund from their banks. So, but most times, if you are a first-time supplier, the company might not want to, give you a bad guarantee, in which case you still have to work with what you have, which primarily can be local purchase order and supply contracts. Some companies might give you advanced checks and all that, but it still means that you have to get the financing for the contracts yourself 100% out there. So in our next slide, supply contracts and getting paid. Now, sourcing supply contracts. I already spoke about how you go out there to source for contracts and all that. Either you are using online channels or offline channels. So sourcing supply contracts is very easy. If you are using the online channels, you just have to put it out there on your communication channels, maybe your social media and all that, and let people know that you can supply this commodity. You might have to create a new page for yourself or a new business for it, for people to know that, oh, okay, I want to do business with this company. I want this business to supply also commodity. So that might be like what you have to do. So you can also get your supply contract. You can supply merchants. You can supply other commodities merchants. So should in case maybe you are not able to get the company that you need or the factory that you need, maybe you've been targeting the top notch or the high level companies and factories and you are not able to get to them, you might just get to meet a merchant who already supplies that company and you just be the one supplying them.
You
So
take injection this morning.
it also works that way. It also works that way. And then we have the exporters. So you might have to supply someone who is exporting out of the country. Someone who is exporting out of the country. So in this case, maybe the person is exporting to, let's say, India or China, Then maybe the contract that the person have, the person can't fill it in alone. Maybe it's a lot of, maybe the volume is actually a lot that he can't fill it in. He needs help. He needs like local suppliers to help him with what with the demand that he has. So maybe you are in that line, you are in that commodity too. So it might just partner with the person and be the one supplying the exporter while the exporter pays you. And it might be an importer from other countries that will have an agent down here, and you will just be the one supplying the agent, while maybe the importers, staffs or officers that or agents that are on ground go ahead in shipping that commodity to the company over there. Then it might be direct to factories or to companies. So you either go to these companies and factories to get to meet with their procurement officers or their purchase managers, or you do a digital marketing on supplying these commodities, in which you still get a whole lot of people coming for you to ask if you can supply them the commodity that maybe you've chosen to, to work with, or whichever commodity maybe that is in trend or that they need. So some may know that maybe you are identifying yourself with maize, but they will still want you to supply soybeans. So they will let you know. So like I stated in this slide, you can do ₦1 billion in purchase order in a week. Very, very possible. So this is a function of, let's say, the company that's working with you, the commodity that is, that they are demanding or they need you to supply them, they are requesting for, and the time in the sense that like maybe the season, maybe it's out of the season, or maybe it's in the season, but they couldn't get a reliable supplier out there and they need someone to supply them. So there is no commodities that companies around don't need, different companies producing different products, so that you might actually just strategically position yourself to supply them that commodity and get a purchase order from them, which you can work with and know their specification, and now try to raise or to finance the contract. So financing your supply contract. So in this slide, I spoke about the contract. I've already been mentioning this supply contract for some time now. So I think you have been able to familiarize yourself with what the contract is. So your supply contract is just what the company you are supplying gives to you. You fill in your details. Their details is already on it. Talks about, has the name of the commodity that you are to supply, the quantity, the price, the warehouse address where you are to supply it to, and the time that you will be paid, or how or when you will be paid. So if you are going to be paid, like let's say 3 working days after supply, or within 24 hours, it will be in the contract if it's going to be paid to you by cash, if it's going to be paid transferred into your bank account, if it's going to be by check, all this will be stated in your contract. Now, one also very important thing you mustn't forget is the specification that I've actually been talking about. So specification has to do with the quality of the commodity you are also supplying. So the company will also state it on the contract. Okay, maybe when you bring in the commodity to our factory or to our company, then we are still going to make some quality tests on it. So that quality test on its own might take 24 hours, weighing it, trying to say that, okay, it's good, there is no mixture, no dirt in it, it's fine, it's pure, it's like exactly what they've specified to you. So that will also make them to understand, maybe, okay, they will pay you the agreed amount, maybe they will deduct, maybe they will add, all these has to happen. So they have to do their own internal check on what you have supplied them. So the payment might now be that, okay, at the end of their check and all that, maybe you supplied 50 tons. So they looked into it, they now saw they were able to weigh out 48 tons. So they will let you know what they got is 48 tons and not 50 tons. So you guys can discuss about it and know how to go about it. So after your supply contract, after you've signed and they have signed and you have that contract with you and you requested for an LPO, which has been sent to you. So you can now request for an advance check if you like, if you feel the advance check is going to help you into getting or into raising fund for your supply contract. And if possible, try to get a bank guarantee from the buyer. Try to convince them to raise a bank guarantee on your behalf. So raising a bank guarantee is also a very stressful thing for the company or for the factory or for the buyer that is buying from you. So that's one thing you must also understand. It's also stressful. So that when they've raised this guarantee for you, you don't deviate from the contract. You don't just get the money and use it for something else instead of making sure that the supply contract happen the way you have pitched and convinced them that you'll be able to execute the contract. So when you get your local purchase order and your supply contract, you can work with that maybe to your bank, to any finance house, and let them understand that, okay, you need so finance. Maybe this is the percentage you need them to provide for you. So it might not be 100%. Maybe your contract is 20 million naira or your contract is just 10 million or 5 million naira. You already on your own, you've raised 1 million naira or you've raised 1.5 million naira. You just need the bank to give you an additional 1.5, making 3 million. And with that, maybe you've already spoken with the merchant who is selling to you, or maybe you've spoken with the person who is selling in the north, and the person has told you that, oh, don't worry, I'll just pay 70%. Once you are done, pay me the remaining. So there are also, your bank can also, in case maybe the LP we are talking about is like 50 million, 100 million or above, your bank can raise a collateralized asset management for you, in which there will be like maybe a third party commodity check who will be coming to your warehouse to make sure that you actually have that commodity, you bought it, and according to what's in the contract that you want to supply. So they will just make sure that, oh, if we raise you, maybe we give you 10% of the LPO, are you going to buy what you are supposed to buy? So once they are sure that, oh, you bought what you're supposed to buy, okay, you've supplied that one, okay, you need another 10%, they give you again, you bought it, they check, they mark, you've supplied it, they'll give you another one again, checked, you supplied it, they give you another one. So they might be giving you bit by bit, bit by bit, bit by bit, like that, till you are able to, execute the whole contract. So by the time, even before you are able to execute the whole contract, the factory or the company also, they've started paying you. So you are able to get profit from there that you add up, that you are adding up to also buy more to supply them. So this is just how to go when it comes to commodity contracts, executing it and making sure that you make your contracts happen. So when it comes to commercial banks, merchants, B2B platforms, private investors, what they just want to see is either you are coming with just your LPO, your contract, but there has to be something that will guarantee that you are going to get the job done and they are going to get their money back. So the people that will still work with you that will be less stressful is the commercial banks, are still the commercial banks or private investors. So, but my own advice is when you are talking to any commercial banks, try to let them bring in a third party. So there are companies, there are commodity companies who do verification, who do all this check. They'll come to your warehouse. They'll make sure that you actually have, maybe in your contract, they'll make sure you buy 10% of the commodity with your own money. So you raise that yourself, you get that commodity there. So you might even form a partnership or strike a deal with a merchant who supply you with that commodity. So once the third party check and knows that, oh, you've bought so quantity of this commodity already, the bank releases some sort of fund to you for you to also buy more. So they come, they check, they just make sure that, okay, by the time you get this money, supply these people, they know the people you are supplying will pay, but they just don't trust that you will carry out the task like the way you are supposed to carry it out, the way you are supposed to carry it out. So this is the end of this session of this masterclass for supply, for local commodities trade and supply. So we have a program coming up called Zero to Export on the 2nd and 3rd of December, where we'll be awarding our basic certificates in export management and advanced certificates in export management that you can attend if you need more knowledge and mentorship from me in the business of exporting. So for the remaining few minutes that we have, if you have any question, I'm just going to open the floor for questions. So just raise your, let me see your hands up so I know who is asking question before we end the class. Yes, Mr. Chimezie. Yes, Mr. Chimezie, you can ask your question, please.
Okay. Yes. Good evening.
Yes. Good evening.
Yeah. Firstly, please, is there a difference between letter of credit and
is there a difference between a letter of credit and?
Yes.
And what?
The bank guarantee.
Okay. So now there's a difference between the two. There's a difference between the two. The letter of credit is given to you by an importer. So letter of credit is usually used in international trade and not in local trade. It's usually used for international trade where you have to move goods from one country to another country, and you need to assure the other party that you are going to make payments. So that's when letter of credit usually comes into play. Yes. So, but for the bank guarantee, it's just something that you can use within your locality, within your environment, just to show you know, the bank guarantee will be assigned to you. It will be assigned to your company. It will be given to you. You will be the one to present it to your bank. So, but in the case of the letter of credit, it is the bank of the person buying that will relate or communicate with your own bank. You won't be the one communicating with your own bank in that regard, but the importer's bank will be the one to now communicate with your own bank as an exporter for letter of credit. So those are the two major differences. Mr. Tosin. Mr. Tosin, you can ask your question, please. Mr. Tosin Davidson, please ask your question. Unmute yourself. Okay, you can also type in your question and I'll take it and I'll explain. Yes, this is a recorded class, and I'm going to post the link to us. I created a WhatsApp group for everyone that's registered, so you can you can join that. I'm going to post the link there. So my email. So I'm going to type out the email to everyone so everyone can see it. Cool. Everyone can see it. Yes. Yes. So we are going to, okay, then, okay, I will try to send all the records of the classes to everyone's email also. Maybe by the time we are done with the whole thing, I'm going to put it on maybe like a Google Drive or something, just share it to everyone so you can still get back and see it later. So any other question? Okay, so tomorrow, the same time, which is 4 p.m., I'm going to send the details to us, just like I sent the details today. So tomorrow, it's going to be another interesting class where we are going to learn a lot. So we'll be looking into Incoterms 2020 tomorrow. So I'm going to be teaching us how we are going to relate that class with your export pricing and how it will influence your negotiation also. So at what time tomorrow? 4 p.m. 4 p.m. So we'll see everyone tomorrow by 4 p.m. So thank you very much and have a great day.
Thank you. Very grateful.